The workhouses in the 19th century. Welcome back to Famous Facts. In today's video we are talking about the workhouses in the 19th century. So, without further ado, let's begin. Also make sure to subscribe. Let's begin now. Why were they built? They were built for the poor people in the 19th century, as the government used to pay for poor people. But as more people became homeless and poor, due to machinery increase taking over jobs in the factory, it was costing the government too much money to pay them, and decided, instead of paying the poor, they would give them a room in a house where they would work for the government and work for the owner of the house, doing jobs, but they would get fed, washed, cleaned, and stuff like that. But what about their family? Well, when you arrived at a workhouse, men and women, boys and girls, would be separated into different sides of the house. The dads and the sons would be together, and the mums and the daughters would be together, in separate parts. This was done to help women in case inappropriate men were in the section where the men were staying. So you'd queue up in a line outside, and then you'd be split off with your mum or your dad as a kid. Daily workhouse schedule. So this is a schedule now. So at 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock, you would rise and wake up. At 6:30 to 7 would be breakfast. 7 to 12 you would be working, so that's various different jobs you might be doing for the house owner. 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock, you'll be doing having your dinner, so that's different food in each day. 1 o'clock to 6 o'clock would be work. 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock is your supper, so just a little something. And then 9 o'clock would be bed or bedtime. Sunday was a rest day. During the winter months, inmates were allowed to rise an hour later and did not start work until 8 o'clock. That's only in the winter, where it would stay lighter and you'll be able to wake up an hour later and you'll start work an hour later. So that's food. So here are some of the food. So on Sunday for breakfast it is bread and beer, or for kids that would be milk. Dinner would be meat and broth. So most people say when you had meat and broth that would be the best day. And for supper, bread and cheese. And Monday, for breakfast it's the same each day, except for Tuesday, Thursday and Friday you'll have gruel instead of broth. And then obviously you've got dinner, you've got supper, and there is always beer at noon and night, and the interboroughs are allowed meeting 4 times a week. So remember guys, if you would like to read this of what they're having each day, then remember you can pause the video and have a look at it. I'm not going to go through them all now because we've got to move on, but you can pause the video and look at each of the food they would have each day. Well, education now. In the workhouse, the children were not working would get taught by a guard at the workhouse, being taught maths, English, reading and religion. The education wasn't the best, as the guard who was teaching wasn't qualified and to teach up to 80 children or more at once. It was also only the boys who were allowed an education at the time. Well, what about their health and how they would be treated? If you arrived sick or feel sick at the workhouse, there were doctors on wards that you could stay on until you got better or unfortunately died. You were also given better food to drink, and more often, instead of just water, you'd be given tea. This was for everyone in the workhouse, not just boys. So now we get to the most important part of the workhouse, the jobs. So men had to complete jobs such as stone breaking into really small stones, so that they could go into mending and fixing roads. Working in the fields, that's growing foods for the workhouse and all the people there. Grinding corn with heavy millstones, so again, making more food. And chopping wood, so you have fires in the workhouse that will keep you warm, and that was the men's job. So now the women's task would include kitchen duties, so cooking, food, dinner, breakfast, stuff like that. You'll be doing all the laundry for everyone. You'll be spinning wool, sewing and weaving, and scrubbing the floors and walls. These jobs were painful and hard work to stop people who were on the edge of being poor trying to get into one of these. They made them hard so that nobody would go in, unless they really, really had to. They also did not pay you any money for doing these jobs. Well, you have to remember that a workhouse is really bad, but it's not a prison. Unlike many prisons in them days, and still now to be fair, when the people weren't working, they could leave the workhouse and go for a walk. Or you could try to run away, but money didn't, as they didn't have money for food or shelter, so where would they go? Like, if they go out, they might die of hypothermia, or they might starve to death. So they would go for a walk, and then they would return to the workhouse for duties. This was mostly on Sundays people did this, where, obviously, you weren't working. Still around are Raleigh Band. Not many, but a few still stand in England, but are not working workhouses, as it was banned many years ago. But now, instead, they are art galleries or museums for people to look and learn about the workhouses in them days. And just one more fact before we end. You could leave the workhouse, they would keep you there, but you could leave if you made a bit of money or had a family member or a friend that would be happy to take you in and help you. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this famous facts video. If you did, make sure you subscribe, hit the like, and hit the bell, so you know when a new video comes out like this I'm going to try and do every day. It might be every other day like it was today. I know we had 2 days off. But, yep. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Goodbye.